All right, thanks everybody. Good to see everybody here today. Excited certainly that we're finally here to game week, a game week that we didn't know would even happen. So certainly excited and thrilled for the opportunity to welcome Missouri State here, and obviously a head coach that I have a ton of respect for. Has obviously had some elite moments in his career. He coached some elite players. So, we certainly have a ton of respect for any football team that Bobby Petrino is the head coach of, and know he's going to do some great things at Missouri State. So, with that, the added challenge of, new schemes, new team that's brought in, a lot of transfers, a lot of new players on both sides of the ball. So, there's certainly some relative unknown with that, and that'll be one of the challenges. It always is a little bit in the first game each year, but probably a little bit more because of the situation with an entirely new staff on both sides of the ball. So, again, tremendous respect for Coach Petrino, what he's done. He's got some really good football players on that team. They brought in some really talented guys from outside. So. We'll be excited to welcome them here 6 o'clock Saturday night, and also would say, I know I've said this before publicly, but those guys have just been tremendous to work with. Coach Petrino, their AD, everybody there at Missouri State, just to be able to put this game together. We had to move it. We had to agree on testing procedures. There was just a lot to this, and can't say enough about how open they've been and how flexible they've been in working to make this happen. So it's certainly much appreciated. Our team's doing well. We certainly can't wait to play. We're thankful that we're one of the leagues that's still taking a crack at this season right now, and to be able to play a game is a great thing for our guys. You can feel the intensity, the excitement level of our guys right now. We're also adjusting to a little bit new practice schedule, and got a kind of a test week in that last week, and so. Doing a few more morning practices than what we've done in the past, and that's been so far real positive. I think our guys are handling that well. So just like I said, can't wait to play. Very, very excited about the opportunity to do it, and can't wait to see everybody Saturday at 6 o'clock.
All right, thank you, Coach. We're going to jump into questions. We'll begin with Ryan Aber of the Oklahoman, who will be followed by Eric Bailey.
Yeah, Lincoln, I know this isn't something that you like to talk about much, but was wondering if you could address the status of Jalen Redmond, Ronnie Perkins, Ramondre Stevenson, and Trajan Bridges for Saturday's game.
The three guys that were previously out, no new update on that right now. Could come at any point, but certainly no new update on that right now. And then I think I've addressed with you guys, how we're going to handle that as a team, as far as any guys' decisions to play or to not play. So we'll leave that up to the individual.
Appreciate it, Lincoln.
Mm-hmm. Eric Bailey of the Tulsa World, and then Joe Bettner.
Lincoln, now that game week is finally here, do you think you're going to monitor the COVID results even closer with a specific eye toward Friday's rapid test? And how much time is spent in contingency plans, or can you even come close to covering every scenario that could happen?
Well, no, Eric, I think we're probably monitoring it more just because now it's, gone to 3 tests a week, so now there's, 3 nights a week that you're kind of holding your breath, waiting for the phone call or text message to come through with the results. So it's been pretty important to us the whole way because we knew we were going to have a limited time frame to get these guys ready to play anyways. And so anybody that's been out either by a COVID test or a contact trace, it's affected us and we've had to adjust. So, of course, I think players are probably more sensitive to it now because it can cost them games. But we've been dealing with it. We'll continue to deal with it. As far as the Friday contingencies, that'll be interesting. I mean, the closest thing I can compare it to is, we have practice in the mornings the majority of this, camp, the majority of this fall so far. And we've had several instances where we get a test result, late one night or very, very early the next morning. and we've got a 9 a.m. practice, and we've got to make adjustments on the fly within a matter of hours. So obviously we're not talking about games there, but there is some similar feelings when you've got to put it together and move around quickly. So can you be prepared for every single contingency? No, just because it's such a broad spectrum right now. I mean, it's a little more than any of us have ever dealt with, but I think you've got to be as flexible and open-minded as you can.
Thanks, Lincoln.
Mm-hmm.
Joe Bettner with the Norman transcript, and then Jason Kersey.
Hey, Lincoln, was curious, you mentioned the respect you had for Bobby Petrino. You've been up against some really big names in the coaching industry, Chip Kelly, Lane Kiffin, people like that. And I'm curious, as a young head coach, what you've learned from kind of those preparations you've had going up against those elite coaches, and as far as just, what you've kind of learned as well as an offensive coordinator going into your head coaching career.
I mean, I think guys like that, you learn, when you're competing against them. I think a couple things. One, you can't beat yourself. I think, two, that they're going to do some really good things schematically that you may potentially have to adjust to. And then I think, three, you got to play well to win against well-coached teams. I mean, it's as simple as that sounds, but it's true. Teams like that aren't going to beat themselves, and they're going to have good players, and they're going to be coached very well. And so, it's always fun having matchups against guys that are as accomplished as a guy like Coach Petrino is. So one that we all look forward to.
Let's go to Jason Kersey of The Athletic, and then Kerry Murdoch.
Yeah, Lincoln, I don't think that you guys have released testing data since, I think, August 24th. So can you give us an idea of where you guys are at in terms of your COVID test? Do you have a lot of active cases? And we've seen TCU and Oklahoma State make the decision to postpone. Is there still a chance that could happen?
As far as active cases, I think we're to the point now where we're playing games, and obviously any active case or contact trace is going to have game repercussions. And so, just like, we would with an injury, we're not going to, we made the decision to not broadcast that. I know we'd been probably the most transparent school in the country up until then, but you don't want to give your team a competitive disadvantage, so we're not going to do that. Yeah, as far as the postponement, I'd be surprised, but at the same time, we're all one big test away from having to make tough decisions, and that's every team every single week. So I don't ever want to say impossible, but I fully expect that we'll be out there playing 6 o'clock on Saturday.
Okay, let's go to Kerry Murdoch with Sooner Scoop and the Sports Animal, and then John Hoover.
Lincoln, just curious, you're the offensive coordinator. What do you like about your offense that you've seen out of them in camp? And I would assume it starts with the offensive line.
Yeah. No, I'm excited. I'm excited to see him play. I'm definitely excited about our front. If they've got a chance to have a really good group there. Like we've said many times, a great combination there. A lot of experience. A lot of guys that have played a lot of snaps. Some young, talented guys that are hungry to get in there and certainly are in the mix. And so we've created a very, very competitive situation there. So excited to see how those guys perform and how they continue to come together as a group. When you add some new talented players in there like we have, it also creates. You're trying to battle finding the best guy for each position and position battles and all that, but also balance starting to develop some continuity and guys getting next to the guy they're playing next to or getting used to the guy they're playing next to. So I would say we're somewhere in between there right now, but some fun battles going on there. I'm excited about the group. It's a fun group. It's talented, a lot of new faces, but I think a group that has an opportunity to be decent.
Thanks, Lincoln.
Okay, John Hoover with SI Sooners, and then Caleb McCory.
Hey, Lincoln, in a year when you literally don't know from week to week if you're going to be able to field a two deep or even play a game, and then, Hard Knocks this week, the Chargers just up and canceled a big scrimmage because the players' minds were obviously on other things. Everybody's going through the same stuff, but for a program like yours, can you describe maybe the challenge of keeping guys focused on winning another championship? Or is that standard this year maybe softened a little bit because of everything that's going on?
No, it's definitely not softened. I mean, those are our expectations. We understand that this season is going to provide some different challenges, some challenges that none of us have ever faced before, and in a lot of ways it already has before it's even began. But no, the standard here remains the same. I mean, that's we expect to, be the best football team we can be. We expect to win and compete for championships, and that's just who we are. So we know it's gonna require some different guys stepping up this year. It's going to require a team that's ready to face some different adversities, but that's why championships are so fun in the end, and why everybody wants to be there and be the guy holding up that trophy, be the team putting on that championship ring, because it is hard to do. It's hard each year, and this year is going to maybe be harder than most.
Thanks.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we'll go to Kayla McCory with OU Daily, who will be followed by James Hale.
Coach, this is kind of looking into the future a little bit, but as of right now, is traveling one of the biggest concerns, if not the biggest hurdle that you guys are considering right now, especially with the trip to Ames, Iowa coming up?
It's definitely a concern. There's so many right now. I mean, just every minute of the day right now is a concern. But no, it is. It's because it's something you can't really practice. And there is a lot of challenges. I mean, the two most obvious are the one thing you wanted, for COVID is social distancing is all you hear, and that's always on a bus or a plane. It's not the easiest thing in the world to do, and so in an enclosed area is never a good thing. So. Now the travel is, we've got a great team that's been working on that from day one, for many months here. So I'm confident that we'll have a great plan, and that we've already put together the makings of a great plan. But I think every team in the country will be antsy and anxious to see kind of how that travel goes and how we'll have to ultimately adjust throughout the year with it.
Thanks, Coach.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, James Hale with KREF, and then Keegan Renault.
Lincoln, I hope things are going well. Lincoln, you and Bill both talked about the depth that you had in the offensive line, and you talked about how you had so much competition. You had one spot that theoretically coming in that you needed to fill at left tackle. What have you decided to do there, and how much of a rotation do you feel like you can have with the additional players that have developed this year for you in the offensive line?
Oh, I think we could have, I think there's a lot of different ways that this thing could go. I mean, if you just take the whole pandemic situation out of it, there still would be. And then when you add that in there, I mean, that could certainly, you could sit there and imagine quite a few different combinations that we could, end up playing a lot of snaps with. So, and I think we've got the guys to do that. So we're equipped to handle it. But no, there's a lot of interesting options out there. I mean, between Eric Swinson, potentially Adrian Ely, Anton Harrison's had a tremendous camp. Stacy Wilkins. I mean, we've got some guys that have the flexibility to play both and play multiple positions as well, especially some of those older guys. So that's given us a lot of key flexibility. We've tried to leave the young guys at the same spot as much as we can to give them a chance to really compete. But we do have the added luxury of so many of these guys knowing our system and being able to move around. So yeah, it's certainly could go a lot of different ways, and I'm sure we'll test a few of them out and find out which one looks best.
Thanks, Lincoln.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Keegan Renault with Sooners Wire, and then Brandon Drum.
Yeah, Lincoln, have you purchased a cutout to put in the stands for the game on Saturday?
I haven't. No, I haven't. If I do one, though, it's going to be of Barry Trammell.
Have you just kind of thought what Saturday's going to feel like, look like? I mean, it's just going to be kind of a different atmosphere and a different game day atmosphere for you guys.
I honestly, we've been so wrapped up in this. I honestly haven't. I watched my brother play the other day against Texas State, and it was, that was the one point I did think about a little bit. When you looked in the stands there and people spread out, and so no, I know it'll be different, but it'll still be really good. I mean, it's still a chance to play college football in one of the greatest places in the world to do it. So it's going to be different, yes, still great.
I feel like I should go to Barry for a response, but he didn't request. So we'll go to Brandon Drum with OU Insider, and then Jenny Carlson.
And Lincoln, talk about Spencer if you can, and just I guess you've gone through three new starting quarterbacks every year. They've all been different, obviously, in terms of experience and their overall time of playing on the field, whether it be at a place or at OU. But what's your overall, I guess, how you go about getting them prepared during week one each and every year, being that it is his first time to actually be the starter and be the guy, and having already gone through that 3 other times?
Yeah, I mean, I think you try to settle them into a routine, and we've kind of had a plan that we followed to be able to do that. You want as little as possible in week one to be new, because there's going to be enough new, as you mentioned, just as it is with the situation. So I think first allow them to get into a routine, allow them to get comfortable. I try to have a plan that they're very comfortable with, and then I think too, it's just guys got to understand, that's you're the starter here for a reason. So we just need to relax and go play like it. And each guy's different, kind of as you mentioned as well. Their personalities are different. Some guys you got to settle them down a little bit. I remember having to settle down Baker and probably myself a little bit against Akron the first year. Kyler, Jalen, those guys didn't have to really settle them down much. They're naturally a little bit, more calm. So, I think it comes down to knowing their personalities, settling into routine, and then, eventually that's what guys came here to do. They came here to go play, and here's your chance.
Okay, let's go to Jenny Carlson with the Oklahoman, who will be followed by Gary Neiman.
By the way, I'm in for $10 on that berry cutout if you end up doing that.
Deal.
Hey, you've talked about your running backs at various times and how much you like them collectively. But with guys departing, also Ramondre not being available, you're going to need more carries out of the guys available these first 4 games or so than they've probably ever had at this level. What are you hoping to see on Saturday, and what do you need from these guys moving forward as you think about games against K-State, games against Iowa State, games against Texas?
Yeah, I think just want to see kind of the continued growth that we've had and what we've seen on the practice field. We've certainly, when I watch us practice, I see a lot of very capable, very talented backs, and I think running behind what's got the chance to be a very good offensive line. So I'm excited for those guys to get their chances. Just like I was excited for Rodney Anderson to get his first carries, or anybody else that we've had here. So I mean, I think these guys are going to be really good players. There's nothing like going out there and just cutting it loose and experiencing it. But I think we got several guys that'll play very, very well. So I more than trying to do anything superhuman, I just want those guys to go and be who they've been all camp and go run hard and confident like they have. And I think they're a hungry group that's eager to perform, and I think they'll perform very well.
All right, thanks.
Mm-hmm.
We'll go to Gary Emig of the Tulsa World, and then Dean Blevins.
Lincoln, this sets up potentially as a season where things are a little more uneven, bumpier in terms of play. Might be a type of year where you just need a guy like a quarterback, and in this case Spencer, to make something happen where things are breaking down elsewhere. You obviously have had that at OU in particular. Do you get a sense whether Spencer can give you that, or do you need to see it in game action to know for sure?
I don't know as far as on the field play. I mean, I don't feel like it'll be any bumpier than what it ever has been. I mean, yes, you may have games where you don't have a guy here and there, but our opponents are going to be dealing with the same thing too. I mean, we're all fighting the same beast here. So we just need him to go be himself. I mean, he's capable of playing the position, and you're right. Part of playing that position at this level is not only the quote unquote on schedule plays and plays that happen the way you think they're going to happen, but being able to improvise, knowing when to do that, and making good decisions in those situations. And he's shown the ability to do that. I think we've got a room full of guys that have shown the ability to do that. So he just needs to play within himself, and he's got a good feel for the game once things break down, and he just needs to trust himself and go do it.
Thanks.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go to Dean Blevins with KWTV, and then Bob Frisbillo.
Yeah, Lincoln, I was actually going to ask you about that very thing, because I've understood from some people who've watched Spencer that one of his greatest strengths is that off schedule, especially him being able to deliver the ball accurately. Can you talk about strengths there, and if that is really true?
I guess we'll find out. Yeah, no, I mean, I'm comfortable with how he plays outside of the pocket and how he plays when things break down. He's an accurate passer. He's got a good feel for the game. He's had a pretty good feel for when to take his shots, and so yeah, I mean, nothing duplicates getting out there and doing that on your own on a game field against another opponent, live situation. But that's not part of his game that concerns me. I feel like he's comfortable in those situations and has a good skill set for it.
We're going to go to Bob Frisbillo with Sooner Scoop, and then Joey Helmer.
Yeah, Lincoln, with all the starting and stopping people in and out, one, are you close to a depth chart? And two, were the competitive battles there this year like they've been in years past when practice times have varied from position and player to player?
Yeah, no, I think we're close on the depth chart. And the competitions have been, they've certainly been there, but they've definitely been different. It's been, I would say it's been more difficult to conduct competitions, to try to get guys, enough reps and to make up for lost time. Spencer and Tanner were a great example on that. I mean, Tanner misses a pretty big chunk of time and comes back, and you're sitting there kind of fighting the inner battle of, all right, do I give him more reps because he hasn't been here, and then take away reps from the guy that has been here, and I think a lot of us at different times we've kind of found ourselves in that scenario. And so you're just, no, it is. And I don't know that there's a perfect answer for that. So I think that the key is one, competitions will continue to be ongoing. A lot of people look at the first game as some type of finality, and there's a lot of competition and a lot of ups and downs yet to happen. And we've had a ton of guys here over the years that have been, look at Marquise Brown's first year here, where first couple games doesn't do a whole lot. I think we go to Ohio State, he doesn't play one snap, and then ends up having a monster year. So Rodney Anderson, obviously another great example there. There's tons of examples, and so I think the key is we're going to have to keep competition going, one, because that's just a hallmark of this program, and two, because we are going to need more bodies this year. You got to keep developing guys and keep them engaged, and have more guys ready to play.
Okay, time for just a few more questions. We'll go to Joey Helmer with OU Insider, who will be followed by Myron Patton.
Yeah, I know you don't want to talk about the specific numbers, but do you have a drop dead date, like 24 hours, 48 hours, the morning of the game, that you would have to know or be able to know how many, that you have enough players to be able to play a game that week?
Yeah, I think that would most likely happen on Friday. we've got the mandated testing where we have to be tested on Sunday, Wednesday, Friday, our 3 testing days. And so, obviously you wait, you get to that last test on Friday, and, that test, is going to have pretty quick results. And then you'll have an idea of where you're at once you get all those results on Friday. So, that's, I would assume, I don't know if they give us a drop dead date, but I would assume, that Friday, once we have those test results in, we'd have a pretty good idea.
Okay, our final 2 questions will be from Myron Patton with Fox 25 and then Lynette Lobbin. Myron?
Yeah, Lincoln, you mentioned competition. What's your competition been at receiver like? I mean, you lost some great players, some really good players, but you got a lot of people back, Charleston Rambo and some freshmen. What's your competition like there, and do you anticipate one guy stepping up or a number of guys contributing this season?
Well, I think I anticipate both. I mean, I anticipate, several guys stepping up, having really good years, but I do think we'll have a lot of contributors. It has been. It's been good competition. Been excited about some of the additions there. Like a Marvin Mims and, of course, Obi and Theo Howard. Those guys have been some really, really nice additions. Brian Darby's done some really good things. Mikey Henderson's done some really good things. Trey West. So it's been a good group of incoming guys, and some guys I think that'll be ready to help us, ready to play. And then I do think we have some guys that have really improved. I think Theo's taken some steps. Rambo's definitely taken some steps. Trajan's taken steps. Stogner, Willis, some of those guys. So yeah, we've got a good group. I mean, we need to stay healthy there. We don't have just we're a few short on numbers as far as where we'd like to be, which we kind of knew that coming into this year, and staying healthy there is going to be a key. But we've got some talented guys, some good competition, and I think a lot of guys that can go out there and make plays for us right now.
Okay, last question of the day will be from Lynette Lobbin with Senior Magazine. Lynette, I think you're muted.
Sorry, I thought you could read lips. I'm going to switch gears here a little bit and ask about the Unity campaign that the Big 12 has announced. Do you think the conference is getting behind Black players in a new way? And what is your reaction to the Unity campaign in general?
I do think the conference is. I think the conference is supporting our Black student athletes, and I think just supporting Unity as a whole, and I think it's a great thing. Everybody can take off on their own interpretations of this stuff, and there's not anything in life that you can't find extremists or people that maybe put something in a negative light. This for us, I can't speak for the other teams in the conference, but I mean, this for our team is about people caring and taking care of one another. And that's one thing our team has been unanimous on. And it doesn't matter if it's a Black player, white player, Hispanic player, you name it, it doesn't matter. And our team has, they've lived by that, because we see daily, how they treat each other, how they interact with each other, and it's just not a factor here. And so, I believe we have a team of guys that live it. And I think we have a team of guys that have had their eyes opened by other people's experiences within our team, and so they're all sensitive to it. It's important to all of them, whether it's a Black player, a white player, whatever, and a white coach. We're all sensitive to it. It's important to all of us. Certainly glad the conference has gotten behind it. And all our team, the only message our team wants to have is that, we believe there can be unity, and we want there to be steps taken. We want there to be peaceful. It has nothing to do with throwing shame at any other races, skin colors, ethnicities. It's about attention on issues in our country and what can we all do to be better. And it's that, and anybody that takes it for anything more is not understanding, what we as a team are trying to promote.